Onda Magazine presenta.
¿Qué onda, Houston? We're happy to introduce you to another exclusive interview with another influential Latina leader here in Harris County. So I'm pleased to welcome you to Judge Dolores Lozano. She's currently serving in her role as Harris County Justice of the Peace for Precinct 2, Place 2. And we're just here to talk about her role, her election campaign, re-election campaign coming up. So thank you so much for being here, Judge Lozano.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited about this conversation.
We're excited I know we see you a lot because you're very involved in the community at Que Onda events and also just around, you know. So I'm honored to be talking to you today. And I just want to briefly introduce why this woman is historic. I mean, she was elected in a historic election in 2022. She was the first Latina, the first woman, the youngest woman, right, into that position of Harris County Justice of the Peace.
Youngest woman ever in Harris County Justice of the Peace.
So that's amazing. It's an honor to have you and to talk about what makes you you, right?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I am the proud daughter of a union carpenter and a Harris County police officer who fostered all the resources they had to ensure that I had a better life. So I was the first in my family to graduate from college. And quickly after college, I got back home to Houston to give back to my community. When I took office in 2023, I made a commitment to make the courtroom more convenient, compassionate, and community-centered. And I'm proud to share that we've delivered on that commitment. We launched an award-winning eviction diversion initiative that received the Best Practices Award from the Texas Association of Counties. This is the first time a Justice of the Peace in Harris County has ever received such a prestigious award. We also received an award from Texas Housers and the National Association of Counties. And awards are great, but what matters most to me are the stories with our community, our people. I think of the single mothers who were on the brink of eviction, but because of this program, were able to get back on their feet. I think of the abuelas who are taking care of their grandkids and were worried about keeping the lights on. And because of this program, they were able to have some stability. And so grateful that we've been able to help families with over $500,000 in assistance. We also brought a free legal kiosk to our courthouse, so folks who cannot afford an attorney can come and get connected to an attorney within minutes. And that's a huge resource. As someone growing up, I never had access to an attorney, so being able to provide that to the community is great. I will share it's the #1 trafficked kiosk in the state of Texas, and I think that's great for Pasadena. And I attribute that to the success of my team and myself being out in the community and making sure that they know that there's resources available. We're all about education. Just recently, we had a probate event in Jacinto City. Commissioner Adrian Garcia was there. We were educating folks on protecting their generational wealth. What I see in my courtroom time and time again is family members fighting over property, but no one really has true ownership of the estate. I myself have been in the middle of family disputes, getting evicted, and a lot about my story and my trajectory is making sure what happens to me doesn't happen to others. So really grateful to be in my position and look forward to another 4 years.
Thank you for sharing about your proudest accomplishments of your first term. I wanted to ask you what made you run into this position.
Thank you so much for that question. So in 2020 or throughout the pandemic, I think a lot of us were spending a lot of time at home, and I was really exhausted with what was going on in our community. I was attending protests, I was involved in different coalitions and speaking up at council meetings and showing up for my community. And I noticed specifically in this seat, Judge George Reisner, who was a previous judge, had been sitting there for 36 years. That was longer than I had ever been alive. And seeing strong Latinas like AOC in the Bronx take out an incumbent. We saw Judge Hidalgo here in Harris County. So I knew it was time for a change. And so I bet on myself. I remember going and talking to my mom, and she thought I was crazy. But I knew it was time for a change. And so I took all the money in my savings account. My husband was my campaign manager. It turned out that sitting judge, I think he knew the writing was on the wall. So then he decided to run against Commissioner Adrian Garcia. So it was an interesting race, my first time running, and now I've learned a lot since running and hope to inspire more women to run for office.
That's amazing. What kind of feedback have you gotten from the community given that representation that you bring to the table?
Well, representation matters, and I learned that too, just growing up and understanding how the legal system was not built for us. And so having a friendly face, a Latina, somebody that's always in the community, is really comforting. And so I'm grateful to be able to provide that representation, and again, hope to inspire more women, more Latinas to also follow.
Thank you so much, Judge Lozano, for sharing those insights on your first term. Now, looking ahead, as you seek re-election, what do you envision for your second term?
So in my next term, I really look forward to expanding our eviction diversion initiative. It is currently being provided at my courthouse and in Judge Dubel's courthouse downtown. So my goal in this next term is to expand it throughout all the courts in Harris County. And that takes relationships. So I'm really grateful to Commissioner's Court for their investment and partnership in this program. Just recently, they passed $1 million to launch the Houston Eviction Advocacy Center, which provides legal aid, free legal aid to tenants who cannot afford it. And what is really historic about this is that, in difference to Lone Star Legal Aid, this ensures that regardless of status, you have that representation. And so I look forward to partnering more with Commissioner's Court on innovative programs and making sure that they're accessible throughout all the courts in Harris County.
Thank you. And I know for a lot of people it can be intimidating to be in a courtroom setting. Do you want to share anything about your role or anything that might feel people more aware or better participate?
The courtroom is very intimidating, and I noticed very quickly the importance of accessibility. And so at our courthouse, everything is translated in English and Spanish. We have screens that are rotating in English and Spanish. We also have translators available at all of our dockets for those that request one. And the translation just does not stop in my courtroom. As I mentioned earlier, the workshop that we had in Jacinto City, I believe it may have been the first time ever where a workshop was fully translated. We had translators on site. They gave the constituents headsets so that they could be fully present throughout the program. And I look forward to continuing that and making sure accessibility is available.
Amazing. And what kind of cases do you see the most in your courtroom?
So in my courtroom, we deal with evictions, which is number one. We also deal with small claims up to $20,000, debt claim cases, traffic tickets, public nuisance cases, truancy cases. I believe as a young judge whose mother was involved in truancy growing up, it's important for me to shine a light on our students that come before me, help them get back on track so that they can live the best lives for themselves. And so I'm grateful to be in that position. I believe in a justice system that heals, not harms. And so I lead with that in my courtroom every day.
Amazing. That's great to hear about your values.
Maybe
elaborate a little bit more about what those values that make you special.
Well, values that make me special is I'm extremely compassionate. I know that every side has a story, so it's important to ensure that folks are being heard. So in my courtroom, I take the time to ensure that people are able to fully explain themselves. I give them ample time to explain their sides of the story. I am very empathetic, but I'm also stern when I need to be. And so grateful to be able to lead with those values, with always the community first at heart.
That's amazing. What advice would you share with the community to prevent them from even ending up in a courtroom?
Well, education is key, and that's why we do our best to make sure that we're educating the community. And so do your research. As I mentioned earlier, we have a free legal kiosk. So if you have any questions prior to a case ever being filed, or if you need help with the case, please come visit us. Our courthouse is located at 101 South Ritchie Street in Pasadena. Our clerks are friendly. They'll answer the questions that you have. But the kiosk is available there to ensure that if you're ever in a legal situation, an attorney is there available to help you.
Amazing, Judge. And I know you're very involved in the community. You have fellowships in prestigious organizations.
Yes.
So I want to ask you, what makes you, I guess, so involved? Why is it so important for you to be out there, to be learning from the community?
Absolutely, thank you. So as the granddaughter of Mexican immigrants who came to this country to provide a better life for their family, I believe it's my job to pass it forward. My parents invested everything they could in my sisters and I. And so, I mean, as soon as I was old enough to vote, I was voting. My husband and I, it's a family affair when it comes to community. We always bring our son so that we can show him at a very early age the importance of community. I saw that in my parents. My mother was a police officer for as long as I've been alive, and she was always showing up for the community, and I attribute a lot of my success to her. The seeds that she planted, the seeds that my grandparents planted is what's helped me bloom into the person I am today, so I'm really grateful for that.
Amazing. That's great to hear.
Thank you.
And I know specifically because I know Keonda likes a lot about higher education and encouraging the next generation to pursue those. I know you're part of Latinos for Education.
Yes, absolutely.
Please talk to us about that. Any advice to you, and as a first generation
college graduate. Yeah, education is very important. I do my best to always continue educating myself. After I win my primary, my goal is to go to law school. I never had the opportunity, as you mentioned, being the first. You're figuring it out. I'm also a survivor of domestic violence, and so I fought a Title IX case against Baylor, which I learned a lot about the legal system through that process. But now that that's behind me, and now after I get this primary behind me, my goal is to go to law school to continue my education. I've been looking at the University of Houston in South Texas. They have evening programs, and so while I'm still young and I have the energy, my goal is to continue my education. My education is what helped me and my family grow, and so I think continuing education is important. Also, sharing with the community the importance of education, because it opens so many doors. And so I'm grateful for my teachers, that one of my pre-K teacher, my pre-K teacher is still involved to this day. She supports my campaign. She always shows up. So I attribute my success to my incredible teachers. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. So it's my job to keep paying that forward.
Amazing. And for those Latinas, Latinos looking to run for office like you know, who was part of a historic election, what would you recommend for them as next steps?
For those that are looking to get involved in the electoral process, I highly recommend getting involved, going to your city council meetings, commissioner's court, doing your research and seeing what position best aligns with you, and also reaching out to your local elected officials, coming to some of our events. I know I've met a lot of really young Latinas just through speaking engagements that I've had or workshops, and we've been able to develop a relationship through that. A lot of my journey as well is seeing somebody that inspired me and figuring out a way to get in contact with them. So highly encourage folks that are looking to get involved in politics, whether it's government, getting involved in a governmental office, or getting involved in a campaign, just showing up and doing what you can. Email us, DM us. I can share that I am 100% available to share my journey because I think it's important to give back.
It is important, and you give back a lot, and we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yes. And I know you recently became a mom. You welcomed your son with your husband. Please talk to us about the importance of having resources for working moms. I know that there's been a really important program that Commissioner Briones helped you establish.
Yes. Yeah. So it is very important for working moms. I want to really give a great shout out to Commissioner Briones for her support in ensuring that I had maternity leave. It was the first time a sitting judge had been pregnant. So we worked together on developing maternity leave for myself, and I learned a lot through that process. And now I'm learning a lot through motherhood, like the expenses of childcare and how we need affordable childcare out there. And now everything that I do in the community is through a mother's lens. And everything I do is for my son, Javi. And so I show up every single day. I feel like I'm more energized. Even though he takes all the energy, it also rejuvenates me every single day to know that his mom is out there trying to build a better tomorrow so that he can grow up in a really great place in Harris County.
Oh, that's amazing, Judge. Thank you so much for sharing those insights. And I wanted to ask you if you could summarize your first term and real quick, and then what you want to achieve for your second term. What would you say?
Yes. So if I could give my first term one word, I would say it was resilient. being the youngest woman ever elected, being the first Latina in the seat, there was some challenges because you're really new. Also, in my first year in office, I did not anticipate. Earlier, I mentioned that I'm a survivor of domestic violence. I had been fighting a Title IX case against Baylor, so I did not anticipate going to trial in federal court my first year in office, and so that was very difficult. But through that, we were able to launch our eviction diversion initiative. We were able to get these awards. That's why my word is resilience, because through everything that hit me in my first year, I was still able to continue to rise. And so I share that as an example that no matter what happens, no matter what stones people throw at you, that you can keep pushing forward. And I think I'm an example of that. And so that's why I lead with my head up, and I keep pushing for progress and pushing for change, because change is not easy. And I've learned that in my 3 years of office, that once you push towards progress, sometimes you'll get some resistance, but you just gotta put the échale gas and keep going.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you. That's an incredible first term.
Thank
and
you.
looking ahead for your second term, if you're elected, what would you describe that as, or what vision do you have for your second term?
I look forward to working with other like-minded JPs on improving our justice courts. I look forward to expanding our eviction diversion initiative so it's just not available in my courtroom and Judge Dubel's courtroom, and really working on ways to fix the issues that I've seen. There is an imbalance of cases across Harris County, and I notice it's also across the state of Texas. And so I look forward to building more relationships to ensure that justice delayed, well, I believe justice delayed is justice denied. So we really need to make sure that there's an even distribution of cases. And so it's going to take a lot of working together to make that happen. And I look forward to completing that in my next 4 years if possible.
Thank you, Judge. Your insights have been really appreciated, and I know you're on the March 3rd ballot coming up, so please go ahead and vote. Please tell us about those early voting dates.
Yes, so early voting begins February 17th through the 27th. Please check out the county clerk's office to find your nearest polling locations. As mentioned, election day is March 3rd, 2026. Grab your friends, grab your abuela, your tia, get everybody out to the polls, and make sure that your voices are heard, because that's the only way that we will continue implementing change.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Judge, for encouraging everybody to go vote. Thank you. It's been a pleasure to talk to you.
As well.
To close out, I want to ask you, do you want to share a special message with our Que Onda magazine audience?
Yes. To everyone at Que Onda, my advice is to continue following your dreams. No dream is too small or too big. Keep going, keep pushing. Si se puede.
Amazing. That's a great way to close out. Thank you so much, Judge Lozano, Harris County Justice of the Peace, Precinct 2, Place 2. She's on the ballot. Tuesday, March 3rd is the election day for the primaries. Thank you so much, Judge. Thank you. Bye and hasta luego.
Hasta luego.
Que Onda Magazine presentó